In week 6, we are studying rational expressions. What's a rational expression is anything that can be written as a fraction. When we are simplifying rational expressions, what we're trying to do is to completely factor the numerator and the denominator, and then cancel out any common factors, and then what remains will be our simplified answer. To demonstrate this, we will look at our first example, 6x squared minus 24 divided by 8x minus 16. First thing we always want to check for is the greatest common factor. The GCF of the numerator is 6, so we divide 6x squared and 24 by 6, and we will have x squared minus 4. And then in the denominator, the GCF is 8, so we divide 8x and 16 by 8, leaving us with x minus 2. But now we also want to check to make sure this is completely factored. Now this is something that a lot of us missed in week 5, is that we factored out the GCF, but we didn't check to see if we could continue to factor our expression. Notice in the numerator, x squared minus 4 is a difference of squares, which can be factored into x plus 2 and x minus 2. We do that by taking the square root of x squared and the square root of 4. And now we want to cancel out our common factors. We have an x minus 2, that's obvious that we can cancel. But now the 6 and the 8 in front, we have a GCF of 2. We can divide out a 2 in each of those numbers, leaving us with a 3 in the numerator and a 4 in the denominator, making our final answer 3 times x plus 2 divided by 4. And then looking at our second example, again, we want to factor the top and bottom. We check for greatest common factor. There are none in the numerator or the denominator, so we'll proceed to factor using the trial and error method. Or you could use the grouping method. We learned about those two different methods. For the trial and error method, the first two terms in each parentheses must multiply to equal 3x squared. Well, since 3 is prime, our only option is 3x and x. And then for the last terms, it has to multiply to equal negative 8. So our choices are 1 and 8, or 2 and 4, where one of the numbers are negative and one of the numbers are positive. In order for that to work, you would proceed with your trial and error. But if we try 8 in the first parentheses and negative 1 in the second parentheses, I chose those two because I know that those are right, because with enough practice we can begin to recognize what combination of numbers would work in order so that our outside terms and inside terms add to equal the 5x. And of course, if you check that, 3x times negative 1 is negative 3, and 8 times x is 8x. Well, negative 3x plus 8x is a positive 5x. So I know that's correct. And then in the denominator, do the same thing. This may be a little more complicated because you don't have those easy answers like the 3x squared where 3 is prime, because 6 is not prime and 24 is not prime. So it may take us a few times before we get the right combination. But you can cheat a little bit. Since we're simplifying rational expressions, more than likely one of these parentheses are going to be able to cancel. Okay, so I'm going to try 3x plus 8 in the first term. And then what must my second term be? Well, 3x times what is 6x squared? 2x. 8 times what equals negative 24? Negative 3. And you want to make sure that you check your factoring to make sure that works. But it will work out if you go back and check, and the 3x plus 8's cancel, and your final answer, you'd be left with x minus 1 divided by 2x minus 3.